Like it's being recorded.
Oh, it is. Okay. What's going on, guys? We're gonna have to cut that out from Jason, hopefully. We're back at it again. VT Sports is back with another basketball episode. We're finally getting started into the group of things where we're gonna be doing real basketball
Back at it.
episodes. Yeah, this is old V2 right here. Like this is OG stuff. So if y'all know what we're talking about, it's pretty fun. This was like when I was back in, the dorms ordering the bell and, William was absolutely tanking it on seltzers and bourbon potentially,
I wasn't even here.
and T-Mac wasn't even here. So this is OG shit.
I was probably in my
Let's
car.
let's get right into the video. We're in copper.
Bro,
Okay,
had the hit and rugs.
first one, Mississippi State, South Carolina. I love this matchup because these are two
This is going to
pretty
be
unbeaten teams. One's 11-2, one's 12-1. I do think Mississippi State's played slightly better comp, which is why I would also put them as a slightly better
yes,
team.
I do agree.
But I do think this is going to be a close one. Look, here's how I'm thinking it. On one hand,
Very
Mississippi
even
State,
matchup.
in my opinion, just they're really underrated. They just got back Tolu Smith. They have one of the best freshman players in the country and Josh Hubbard, and their defense is probably top 10 in basketball. They have elite level defense, absolute defense. It's ridiculous. And if they're hitting on their three pointers, that's you're looking at a top 25 team in the country by far. I wholeheartedly believe they will be ranked by the end of the season. As for South Carolina, I think a lot of people don't talk enough, at least in my opinion, about their big men. I think they have very capable forwards on their team who have consistently led them to good games. Primarily, I want to talk about BJ Mack. And if I remember him, I think it's like a double name, Murray something. Murray Boyles, I think.
Colin Murray Boyles, yeah, the
Colin Murray
freshman
Boyles, yeah.
coming back from mono.
I love his game. He scores a lot as a freshman. He's a good forward. His size is pretty solid. And he's more of a space the floor forward because you're not going to see his rebounds be too high, but he can get you some points. I also think
Yeah.
South Carolina can shoot the ball decently. Sometimes they have pretty bad off nights, but they've mitigated it enough to where they can compete with most teams. So I'm liking this matchup. Um,
Yeah,
right now, oh yeah, go for it.
one thing about the South Carolina team is that from these wins that they've gotten, they've always find a way. I
Mm.
mean, sometimes they'll be off shooting and sometimes they'll be on and they'll win the game just like that. And the big man play has been pretty inconsistent. Like if we're talking about, like the center position, because BJ Mack plays like a small forward, not really a center, because South Carolina really mainly has an off ball or a small ball lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, the tallest guy that plays is like 6'9", and obviously Tolu Griffin. I think that's what his name is, right?
No, Tolu Smith.
Tolu Smith. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of the wide receiver.
Oh,
Tolu
to Luke
Smith.
Griffin.
He's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
true.
yeah. he's gonna go crazy.
My only
Um
concern about this game is I think South Carolina hasn't faced enough good teams because the two good teams I think they've played, they're 1-1 in, which is Virginia Tech, who they won 79-77 against, a pretty damn close one, but is early in the season, so maybe that
you're forgetting
isn't
Grand
fully
Canyon.
indicative. And
Grand
then
Canyon is a top 40 team, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm not calling Grand Canyon a good team. I'm
I'm
sorry.
just saying
And then the
they
other
were in the
team,
tournament last year.
Clemson, who frankly,
Mississippi
that's a
State did
good
lose to
loss
Southern.
because 70 what?
Mississippi
What'd
State
you
did
say?
lose to Southern.
Oh, they did. I will say that was without Tolu Smith, but that was still a bad loss. I was surprised. But look, it's
Yeah.
close, but I think Mississippi State gets it done in a close one, even despite being the road environment. And I only say that because with Tolu Smith back, I think that defense is just going to really have South Carolina in a frenzy. It's going to hurt them a lot. And if people like uh Fort and Hubbard can shoot the ball well, this will be a good game for them.
Fort.
Yeah, his name's Fort. It's crazy.
That's fire.
Yeah.
But
But
uh
what do y'all got?
If I was picking this game later in the season, I'd probably go with Mississippi State. But Tolu Smith hasn't played a full game of basketball yet, and they'll need him to
I think he's
play
played
30 plus
one.
minutes.
Oh, wait, you know
He's
what? He
yeah,
played on the bench. He played on the bench.
he came off the bench. I don't think his conditioning is going to be there yet to play a full, 30 plus minute game of basketball.
So
Mm.
I'm gonna go to South Carolina just based on the fact that he's not completely healthy yet, or maybe he's not as conditioned as he could be later in the season. So that's why I'm gonna go with Mississippi State.
You mean South Carolina?
Or yeah, South Carolina, my bad.
Yeah. As you guys can see, I'm a diehard South Carolina fan. I'm a diehard. I'm not gonna say diehard, but I'm a
You have a
very
shirt on and you have two posters in the
no. I'm
background.
talking
You
about. I'm about
absolutely.
no. I'm about to talk about like the next part of what I was about to say. I'm a
Oh.
big fan of Lamont Paris. I'm a
Oh.
big fan of Q-Zip season, and I do think South Carolina will pull this out in CLA. I mean, it's gonna be packed. It's a Saturday at noon on CBS. It's a hype game.
I forgot it's at
I
noon.
think,
That
but
kind of
one
sucks.
yeah. One thing you do have to do though is you all of your guys are gonna have to come back from their slumps. Miles Studi looks to get back in his rhythm, but Michi has to get out of his slump. Talon Cooper has to get out of his
Hmm.
slump. And I think BJ has to create more shots because he only shot three in the last game. So he has to do more than that because he's a dynamic scorer. I mean, we've all seen it. Dude can put up 25 if he wants to and put
Hmm.
up five threes. That's a big man. We also gonna need big like help on defense from Benjamin Bozeman Verdonk and Colin Murray Boyles, since those are the more dominant guys. But yeah, I have South Carolina pulling it in a close one. I think, I mean, to be fair, this is about as 50-50 as you can get. I mean, if you can just go look at the stats,
No, their stat
they're
metric is
very, very
identical.
close.
Like 76
There's
points versus
literally
75 points, 62 versus 63, 44% from the field. Or no, 45% versus
44.9
45%, 57
rebounds,
or 15 assists versus 15
the rebounds
assists,
per
three
game.
blocks versus three blocks. Only category that's actually altered is 8 steals versus 5 steals in favor of state. Like these stats can't get any more identical. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, I have
Mississippi
South
State has
Carolina
some
pulling
random
it.
losses though.
That's their only issue. Like take away the random losses and that's a top 25 team. Hell, take away that
Oh
one
yeah,
loss and they're still ranked.
SEC has a
I like
big
Georgia Southern's kind of a random loss
SEC.
too, or
Mm.
Georgia Tech.
No, it
Georgia
is.
Tech is great. Georgia
Hell,
Tech hasn't played great
That
this
was
year.
yeah, that
hell,
was a
Florida
play in them
State,
game.
we beat them. I will say Georgia Tech's not a bad team, but you still should beat them.
It's not yeah.
Okay. Florida versus Kentucky. The first thing that surprised
ESPN
me
has
about
this
this game
wrong.
is the fact that Florida is expected to win. They have like a 61% chance according to ESPN analytics. I
Yeah,
don't get
it's
that at
not.
Isn't
all.
it in the swamp?
So it is in the swamp, but I'm going to be real. I think the only thing that's difficult about playing at Florida is the fact you hear that annoying ass fan who constantly is just going, "Ah," just over and over on defense. It's crazy. But look, Kentucky, that's a really good team you're looking at. Top 10 in the country. They have some of the
That
best
offense,
Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham. You have some of the best freshmen in the game on your team. I think just talent alone, they out talent Florida. And really, in order for Florida to win this game, they're going to have to do it through bully ball. I think they'll have to show they're a more established and experienced team since this is a little bit more experienced despite being a lot of transfers. They still have played the game longer. So, in order to get it done, they're going to just have to really come together as an experienced unit. And they're going to have to shoot well. Because if you look at Florida's stats, although they average 86 points a game and 47% from the field, which are both really good stats, they still have some nights where they just don't play good. A good example of that, and people are going to maybe disagree with me because it's a win, is Michigan and Quinnipiac or Quinnipiac. How do you pronounce it? Whatever.
Winnipeg.
Point is, both of them they came within like five, and they're both not great teams. Michigan, you might be surprised, is just not doing well this season, especially, and that was a neutral site
especially
game.
without Hunter Dickinson.
That's true. And with, I mean, Kennebec, I mean, they're just that's a bad team in general. So, look, I'm not going to say that holds them, but they're going to have to be shooting the ball well. Some of their
I mean,
players are
like
going to have to step up, especially if I can remember his name. He's a guy who shoots pretty well. Um,
Bullen's the only guy that shoots consistently on this team at all. What's his first name? He's a guard.
Riley Kugel.
I basketball guy.
No,
That's the guy I
uh,
was thinking of, though. He needs to play well.
Zion Pullen. He
Pullen.
shot
Yeah.
consistently this year,
Yeah.
but Florida's just too small.
They are. Like, a lot of they just, in my opinion, their main issue is they have too many guards. There are
Yeah,
way too many guards on their team compared to forwards. And
they
for their
play like
forwards, not
five
many are
guys.
centers.
Well, I mean, like one. And he doesn't even start.
Yeah. Just
I think
they
they play Samuel at center a lot, and he's probably around 6'9".
Yeah. Very similar to South Carolina. Doesn't really have a true big man like that.
They're just gonna have to control boards, control the paint. I think this will be closer than people expect, but I got Kentucky by like 6. They'll keep it close, but they'll still get it done because that's just a more talented roster, straight up.
Yeah, I got Kentucky by around. Yeah, I got Kentucky pulling away in the final minutes. I mean, that offense is just way too good. I mean, they're averaging 91 points a game.
Exactly.
That's for college too. Like that's, if I'm not
It's hard to
mistaken,
get 80 points a game.
that's like Zion Williamson Duke type numbers. And they have some
Kentucky
of the
will win on the
best.
board.
And they're shooting 50% from the field, 40% from three. I mean, it can't get much better than that.
Indeed.
It's just Kentucky's just that good.
And Reeves, I didn't even mention him because I was talking about the freshman, but they got just a ton of people. He's averaging like 20 points a game. It's crazy. But next game we got, and I'm gonna speed this up a little bit since I forgot we're also talking about Tuesday's slate. Georgia and Missouri. That's an interesting one because I'm gonna be real. Dennis Gates and Missouri have lost a bit of games that I was not expecting them to lose. They are 8-5, and although they've came close to some good teams, they've also just played really bad against some teams that are not great, like Seton Hall, for example, as well as it was earlier in the season, I think. Uh might have been Minnesota. And they also lost to Jackson State. They've been struggling. Now they do have some good wins, like they beat Pitt on the road, who I think is a pretty good win. They also actually wait, that's kind of it actually. No offense,
Yeah, that's
Tiger Nation, but that's about it. You've beaten Pitt. The rest of the
Wichita
wins are
State
pretty
used to
bad.
be good.
You could have beaten Memphis, but they're ranked and they didn't win there. Okay, so they're just not really doing what I was expecting to do. I guess they lost some players and that hurts them a little, but still that surprises me a little bit. Sean East the second is the main guy you're gonna be looking at. He's both the leading scorer and assist leader. So he's gonna have to carry for this squad. As for Georgia, this is a team that's like just very interesting to watch because they haven't played that many good teams, if any. And for the teams they have played that are good, they've lost, even if they've been kind of close. But they're just they, they're just poorly coached. I mean, like, I'm sorry. I think they need, well, maybe not poorly is the word. I should say they're not coached yet, is the best way to put it. They are
Yeah,
not developed. They're not ready to like start winning at a high clip because I'm not going to say their coaching is bad. It's just it hasn't had enough time to actually put them to where they need to be.
yeah,
So
that's a good take.
I think personally, Missouri wins, but I have it really close. And frankly, I'm almost one to say Georgia wins, but I'm going to take Missouri strictly because of the fact that they're at home. If this was on the road, I would say Georgia wins.
Same reason
Yeah,
I'm picking Missouri
yeah,
because it's
I
at Missouri.
agree.
Mhm.
I agree. I like
And that's a good road environment.
Missouri also has a better primary score than Georgia.
That's true.
Clear. I mean, it's not even that close. Sean East is a dog. But I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of good for Georgia that they have multiple guys that can score here and there.
They're more of a distribution type team, I'll admit.
Yeah,
Both of these teams have the same problem of they haven't really gelled like as a cohesive unit yet. I think that's been holding both these teams back a little bit this year.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So since Missouri's at home, I think that's the best shot. It could go either way though.
Okay. Next one, we got Arkansas versus Auburn. This is a great game because look, some people are going to say Arkansas is underwhelming because they lost three ranked teams in a row. I'm going to also mention they beat Duke. I think that needs to go without or not go unnoticed. Now, I will admit Duke is a bit overrated, but that's still Duke and that's still a ranked team, so they have a good win. As for Auburn, this is probably one of the most like interesting and dark horse teams I have in the SEC because on one hand, there are days where they will look like one of the best teams in America. Like Aiden Holloway will be on and Broome will be doing his thing and Katie Johnson won't be just driving to the layup like an idiot and turning over the ball. You'll see Caldwell doing good in the paint. They'll look like a really competent team. And then there are other days where they just suck and they
They
just
lose
like
to App State.
yeah, and they just confuse me. Now, I'm not going to say that's necessarily happened this season except for App State, but I am going to say it's happened before, especially in their past. And I'm torn because since that App State loss, they basically have played nobody who's really that good. This is basically their first good team they've played
Their
since
first
the
true
App State
test.
loss. Yeah. And it's at Arkansas, and that is one of the toughest road environments to play in the SEC. And as for Arkansas, I think one of the things you got to talk about is Tremont Mark. Really good scorer. He shoots like 55% from the field, which is fantastic. And as a team, they shoot really well at 48%, but they don't spread the ball around a lot. They're more of a score, get your own bucket type of team. So I'm going to say if Aiden Holloway plays not like a freshman and he does what needs to be done, I got Auburn winning this game because they've gotten better at three-point shooting. They've gotten a little bit better at paint presence, and as long as they just don't have a mess up and don't show where their weaknesses lie, such as turnovers and bad shots, because bad shots are probably the main thing I'll look at, they'll win. I think they outmatch them. So I got the Tigers.
Yeah, I
This is
agree.
hard. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I do agree. I like Auburn in this game. I think Auburn is a very good team under Bruce Pearl this year.
Mm,
Arkansas is underrated though, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, Auburn by a okay amount, I guess.
What?
Auburn by
What'd you say?
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah,
You said
Auburn.
Auburn.
I, I'm gonna pick Arkansas
Hmm.
just because Auburn's been so spotty from three this year.
I like the take.
I mean, like
Just
that's really the only reason I have to pick Arkansas. But we'll
also their
see if
home
the
court
three-point
advantage is
shooting
no
backs up.
joke, I will say. Okay,
I go with the
next.
upset.
But I like the take. It very well could be an upset. Next one. This is probably one of the most underwhelming teams I've seen today. Alabama and
Bama.
Vanderbilt. Alabama was expected to be a really good team despite the losses. Despite who they lost, they were expected to do well. And they've just shit the bed. They had a chance to at least win one of three against three ranked teams. I will admit all of them were away and all of them were against really good teams, but they still had a chance to at least get one win. And they lost to Creighton, Purdue, and Arizona, two of which by a decent bit, and one of them was close, being Creighton, because I do think Creighton is a bit overrated.
They also
And
lost to Clemson
yeah,
at
you
home.
lost to Clemson, who I think is a good team, but still, that's not a great
So,
loss. And they lost to Ohio State, who isn't really doing that much, I don't think at least. So Alabama's just been really underwhelming. And look, I'm not going to say they're bad because they still have some pieces that I do like. I think Sears is a great scorer, and I think Grant Nelson is the best transfer pickup of the portal. He's been playing really well, and I like the way he moves at his size, but they've just not been great. And as for Vanderbilt, surprise, surprise, the bottom of the SEC in football follows suit in basketball. They haven't been
Yeah,
doing anything. They're 5-8. It, their their home court advantage means basically nothing as they've lost to people like San Francisco at home and West Carolina at home. The only real thing I can say impressive from the fact is that they've barely lost to Memphis, 77-75, because Memphis is a good team, and I'll fully admit that. But
That is a rivalry game though, so how much do you really
that's
take into
true.
account there?
And do rivalry games, it's gonna be closer. Yeah. So even though Alabama's been underwhelming, I'm taking them pretty handedly. I don't see Vanderbilt really doing that much against a squad like this.
Sears is going to dominate. Bama wins by a decent amount, probably like 10 to 15 points.
Mm.
I mean, like
Maybe
Alabama's only been underwhelming against like hot competition.
Yeah.
I think they could handle Vanderbilt, but if they don't, that is something to take a look at.
Yeah. Now, the next game we're going to talk about is Ole Miss and Tennessee. Now, this is going to be interesting, and a lot of people are going to be pretty like interested about what I have to say on this one because it may be bold. But I think Ole Miss is suffering from we scheduled a shitty non-conference schedule syndrome, which one of the two Mississippi teams does every year, which is they'll win every game on the non-conference schedule and they'll get a small ranking because people think, I mean, they won everything. We might as well give it to them. And then they'll play a team who's good and just shit the bed. And I'm expecting that to happen
Tennessee
against
is
Tennessee.
really
Not
good.
only do I think that the Memphis win is not really that indicative of who they are, but I also think that Tennessee is a fantastic team. Now, granted, they do have 3 losses, and I will fully admit that fifth ranked in the country is not their ranking. I think they're more of a top 10 to top 15 team,
True, but
especially
they're still
considering I think
really, really
Ziegler is
good.
an idiot, and I think he's an idiot. But
They're
still, they
Ole
are a
Miss
really
Memphis
good team.
also, that's also another rivalry that flies under the radar. Like those two schools are only separated by an
football
hour.
or basketball.
Both.
Football mainly. But
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna say is I think even though Ole Miss
Hey,
is still a good team, I think Tennessee humbles them and gives them their first loss on the season. I'm taking Tennessee by near double digits.
Yeah, I think this is a game where Tennessee just plays lights out and just, yeah,
Hmm.
like you said, humbles them. I mean, I could see them winning by up to 20.
Connect has been playing really well. JJJ, I like his paint presence. And finally, Zakai Ziegler. I'm going to be completely honest. Congratulations. You're still shooting ass as per usual. Goes to show you that if you're 5'3" in basketball, you're not going to play well. The only thing I could say I'm impressed about is the fact that your 3-point percentage is above 30%. It's at 32, which is still shitty, but it's at least something.
hey,
College
watching
basketball,
him
that's
get
pretty good. Well, not
watching
good.
him
It's
get
pretty average.
blocked taking 3-point shots is still some of the best college basketball content
It's
on there.
hilarious. Like, if you know V2OG, you know we shit on this man all season last year. Every game, we would
Can
blame the
I
loss on Zakai Ziegler and on Rick Barnes
can I
every
get a
single
reason on
time.
why it
Will
was the guy
definitely knows
Ziegler? Can I get a reason on why it was the guy Ziegler?
because he takes awful 3 points per shots all the time. He doesn't hit them when he takes awful 3-point shots, and he just makes stupid decisions. He's basically Tennessee's KD Johnson. Just outside of energy and the fact that people like him, he's not that great. But
I'm not going to give a score in this game, but I'll give Ziegler's stat line out 2 for 9
okay, I like
on
it.
3-point attempts
That
versus
makes
this guy
sense.
Ziegler. He'll hit 2 open ones, but nothing else.
I like it. I
Because I'll
agree.
give him credit. When he's open, he does hit threes when he's open.
That's not really that hard to do if you're a college basketball player.
Well,
I would hope you can hit
I
open
mean,
threes.
it's hard for some people,
True.
Okay.
kind of.
Now, next game is a one that I think is not going to be great, but I think has a team that is great, and it's A&M
Get
versus
off.
LSU. First off, I'll go ahead and say that LSU is not good. That 8-5 means nothing. I've watched them play
That's,
multiple
that's such a
times.
faulty 8-5.
I remember watching them once play. It wasn't like Elon, but it was some team on like that level of bad. Let me pull up there because I was watching the second half and they lost after
Yeah,
having like a
they lost
20
to
point
Nickel
lead.
State.
They
Hold on.
lost to Nichols.
Nichols, yeah, that's it. I was watching that game. It was awful.
They've also
Point
lost to
is,
Syracuse by 23.
Texas A&M is one of the most unlucky teams because even though they are 9-4, they are still a ranked team in my eyes because their 4 losses as a ranked team were to FAU by 7, which, by the way, FAU
They
is one
are
of the best
good.
teams in basketball, so that's not a bad loss. The one actually decently bad loss is to Virginia,
Yeah,
in which they lost 59-47 because
I
they
would
couldn't
say it was bad
ball,
because you
dude.
scored 47 points.
But even so, I'm not going to say Virginia's a bad team, so that's not
We're not a
necessarily
bad
a
team. It's
bad
just the
loss.
47 points is pretty bad to me.
Yeah, that's the main reason why their ranking is
And
gone.
then
Then they
Memphis.
lost to Memphis barely,
Mem-
who's a really good top 15 team, and then you barely lost to
Memphis
Houston, who's
owns
like a
the
top 10
SEC.
team. Bottom line, this is a team that keeps getting unlucky playing ranked teams constantly and barely losing to them. And I think they're going to take out this anger and just absolutely dick down the Tigers. They're crushing, you know,
Yeah.
their sorry ass defense. Give me Texas A&M by double digits, zero question.
Yeah. One thing I noticed is that Memphis owns the SEC.
Not gonna lie, Memphis is a good team. They top 25. I think they're like at 15 or something. They've been
Has
playing
Mikey
really
Williams
well.
played for them? Has Mikey Williams played yet?
I hope not because he's one of the most overrated players in basketball high school recruiting's history. He is
True.
so overrated, dude. He is he's Ja Morant without the talent. Best way to put it.
He's worse than John Morant.
As a person or like what do you
As a
mean?
person.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. No. You
But
you know
yeah,
how people like to say he's a shooter on the court? Bullshit. He's a shooter off the court. He
with
hangs
that
out
being said, with
he
that
hangs
being
out with
said,
Brandon Miller all the time.
with that being said,
Ooh,
A&M
Darius
by
Miles.
90. With that being said, A&M by a
Yeah.
lot. What a what a
With that
what
being
a
said,
transition.
screw you, Memphis. Ooh. Okay.
I love their court's pretty sick.
I'm
I like
getting my
the
Taco Bell
gray
feel
court.
back. It's almost like as if I have a bean burrito or some sort of like beefy five in my stomach right now, talking about
We need to go get some
basketball.
Taco Bell, man.
Dude, there at one point me and Will need to meet up, have some Taco Bell, a drink, and just chill. That's gotta happen at some point.
I think
We
that
will make
happens
that happen.
when
Trust.
every V2
Just
member turns 21. Their goal should be drink with Will or have a drink with Will.
Mm,
I'll take you. I'll take all you. Have a drink.
we go. It'll happen. Don't worry. Because I can show up. Matter of fact, my friend is at Birmingham Southern. I may show up soon. I'm not gonna lie, because I
All
know
right.
y'all started back school.
We just need to have a random episode where everybody's showing up and just the two of us are on the same computer screen.
That'd
Now,
be
how about
fire.
this? At
That'd be
some
fire.
point, and I'll promise this on air, at some point before I go back to Tallahassee, I will go meet up with my friend in Birmingham Southern and try to see Will. I'll try to do
Oh
it.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'll bring up some
When are you going
drinks.
back to Tallahassee?
Sunday, I believe.
Okay.
So we got
So you
time.
got
We got the
5 more,
rest of the week.
4 more days?
Yeah, 4 more days. We can make it happen. All right, a few more games. First, Missouri, Kentucky. I'm not going to really keep this long. I'm just keep it short and simple. Missouri's on the road and they've been playing bad. Kentucky's at home and they've been playing good. Kentucky wins by a good
Kentucky
bit.
wins 93 to 61.
Mm,
I guess. I don't know.
something like that.
It'll be
It's
like
not like we know sports or anything.
yeah.
Nah, I suck at that type of
We,
stuff.
we don't know ball.
Yeah. Do you? But
We don't know ball. Do you?
do you? We
I do
don't know
not know
ball. You do.
Do not take my basketball pick seriously.
Yeah, please don't take mine
I did
seriously.
pretty damn good in basketball. I have my picks
Who
published
did?
every single week, and I have like a really good ass record.
I'm looking at
For
ESPN.
about, I just picked against Jackson last year every single time.
It low key worked. That's what's
That is
funny.
that is probably a good
Because-
The
strategy.
sad part, like, of course, I would take losses having to pick against like Kentucky and Missouri and A&M and those
Yeah,
type of
but
teams.
anytime it was a 50-50, you would always win every
Oh,
time.
100% every time.
Yeah.
But next one, well, actually, Will, do you want to say just Kentucky?
Yeah, Kentucky.
Okay, yeah, Kentucky. So next one, South Carolina, Alabama. Look, I'm gonna go out and say Bama's gonna win. They're at home, but it's gonna be way closer than you expect. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a close one. I think South Carolina proves a lot of people wrong in this game, even if there's a loss in the column.
South
And
Carolina's
frankly,
gonna want this game from what happened last year,
Yeah.
from
I'm
when
not-
the ref screwed them up
mm,
in this game.
and I'm not gonna say
That was
I'm,
like something.
I'm not gonna say I'll be surprised if South
Yeah.
Carolina wins.
I would. I think it'll be close, but I think
It is hard to
maybe-
win at that stadium or
Maybe
arena.
maybe
I think
maybe
South Carolina I think South Carolina and Florida are going to run into some size issues this year,
I
but
agree.
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
maybe the small
yeah.
ball will work.
Yeah, but South Carolina, maybe South Carolina should get a player who hands a shooter a gun and then the shooter goes to kill someone. Maybe they'll win. We'll see.
You know what? That's actually a pretty fair take. I like the take. I agree.
I
So,
know ball.
This game's
I know
fun.
ball. But
A&M
Brendan,
yeah,
Auburn.
Bama by like 5, I guess. I don't know.
Alabama shooters, they are fine. Brandon Miller, hand me the 9. Okay, next game. Texas A&M and Auburn. Look,
Ooh.
this is my game of the week. So say it with me. Week. So, look, I
Did you
think
hear that, Will?
I'm interested because Auburn
Oh,
and Texas A&M, that's a good one. And even though it's at the Jungle, Texas A&M is going to put up a fight. I'm certain of that. And you know what? I'm a believer in underdogs. I'm a believer in teams who are struggling, gets ranked, and finally get that win they need. And I think it's
Mhm.
gonna happen. I got the Aggies in this one. I think they'll finally get it done and beat a really good Auburn team on the road in the Jungle because Bruce Pearl is fat.
I like the take, especially the Bruce Pearl is fat
Mm,
part of the take.
yeah, because
I'm gonna
being
go
real,
A&M.
I think Bruce Pearl needs to work on some anger management issues because bro just thinks that if you recruit well and then basically, in my opinion, Auburn is the poor man's Kentucky. Recruit well and just think that will work to win you games.
that's
When
a
in
pretty
reality,
valid take. Not gonna lie.
this we know ball, do you? Simple as that. And what do you
A&M's
guys want to give
just
the
so much
take?
more consistent.
I think you
That's
know what.
true.
I'll have some fun with this pick since I know nothing about SEC basketball. We'll just say Auburn wins in a thrilling game. Um, the fans rush the court. Bruce Pearl takes off his shirt.
Bruce Pearl stage dives into the crowd and snaps his neck. And then we have to be talking about this very sadly because I just made a really bad prediction. Okay, we're getting sued. Um, final.
Uh,
Oh wait, no, Will's got the take. My bad.
oh, A&M.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. And final game, Battle of the Poverty, Vanderbilt and LSU. This was a game I think that if real OGVT members remember this, because we were talking about the SEC tournament predictions, and it was LSU versus Vanderbilt. And for some reason, we voted LSU through, even though they were the clear worst team in the tournament, and they still lost that game. But it was so dumb, and what was even worse is we had Mississippi State winning the championship. We had
Okay.
Mississippi State and A&M going to the final two and
To
State
be
winning.
fair,
Y'all want to know what my you want to know who my like NCAA championship was last year? Like on my bracket,
Uh,
Missouri. I thought it was gonna be a thrilling bracket. I was like, "F it, Kobe Brown's winning. Is
but
gonna
I will say,
shoot up his draft stock."
although my bracket didn't have any of the teams in the top four, actually they might have had one. I think I had UConn there, but outside of that, I didn't have anybody. But I will say I had a lot of the Elite Eight teams.
I actually I picked UConn to win it all. I actually get that right.
Bro
But
knows Sudoku or
they,
Sudoku. What was his
they
name?
were also the
Sonogo?
only elite. They were also the only Elite Eight team I got right. So
W. There were some elites.
This
I'm
is
pretty
all right.
decent at it. I got
Can
at
I
least
make
half
a
of them. Yeah.
so we all so a lot of our listeners are college football fans specifically. To put this in college football terms, this is South Carolina versus Vanderbilt in football.
I love how you had to still use Vanderbilt for a Vanderbilt game. That
Yeah.
says
hey,
a lot.
Or
baseball
we
season starts soon, man.
dude,
Hail
I'm so
State,
hyped.
go Knowles.
So hyped.
We'll be back. I'm
I
hoping.
love baseball season. It's so
Nah,
awesome.
the Knolls are a year away.
Yeah, we need Link to develop some, but we do have a good class. So I think we can make regionals. I think we can.
EJ
I
Morlando,
think we can make
please
regionals. It's
sign to
possible.
South Carolina.
I didn't say win it. I said make
I
it.
think you're I think you're a year away.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Let
But
that class come
I can't
back
wait for
next year.
Are we doing baseball episodes?
uh
We better be because
we will see. I'm not
if
100%
there's one
sure.
sport South Carolina is good at or somewhat decent at, it's baseball.
Hmm. Interesting.
Team got a new coach.
Yay.
We needed one.
Yeah, if
Maybe.
Kingston doesn't make it to super regionals or regionals, then get his ass out.
Charlie Cundon.
Ethan Petrie,
There we go.
Jackson's
Greatest
dad.
hitter.
Bunch of baseball players. I don't know. I'll go with Jackson's dad though. That seems right. I agree with
Ethan
that.
Petrie. Ethan Petrie.
I don't know who that is, but I agree. Jackson's
Well,
dad.
Charlie literally had better stats than Ethan all year, and
Oh, I
Jackson
know.
still tried to argue that he was better.
I think it was because Ethan Petrie had such a good start in SEC play. Like he
Hmm.
was literally hitting a home run every game in SEC play, like to start out.
Stuff.
Condone was really good though. Like there's a bunch of good SEC
Condon.
freshmen last year. Condon or whatever. his
Don't worry,
name is.
boys. We'll mention baseball throughout all of the V2 episodes because, to be honest, we appreciate baseball more than some.
Yeah,
least
we're down in the South.
Yeah,
We're down in the South.
where baseball is also good,
Shout out to the Braves.
mostly. Go Braves!
Somewhat, because
Shout out to the
I will
Braves.
say I don't support the MLB even though I like the Braves because the Dodgers have ruined baseball. But
Well, no, Rob Manfred ruined baseball.
also true. But
Dodgers
anyways,
took advantage of it.
that's gonna do
We're
it.
also 80-year-old baseball fans. We're not like you look at us and think teenagers, but
No,
I think
Pretty
we all
much
watch
old
baseball
men.
like 80-year-olds.
you'd think. But that's gonna do it for today's episode. Appreciate you guys for watching this one. It was a good episode. Like the heart that T-Mac put right there. Good shit. And as always, my friends, good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew. Peace, guys.